Greek fire was the weapon that turned the Byzantine navy into an unstoppable force. Created in the 7th century, its exact formula remains one of history's best-kept secrets. The weapon could burn even on water, terrifying enemies who watched in horror as their ships went up in flames. Byzantine engineers guarded its recipe so fiercely that it was lost forever after the empire's fall. Even today, historians can only guess its ingredients, likely a mix of petroleum, sulfur, and quicklime. Greek fire wasn't just a weapon, it was psychological warfare. It was used to devastating effect against Arab fleets attacking Constantinople, transforming naval battles into infernos. Those who faced it described it as if the sea itself burned. The weapon could be projected through bronze tubes like a medieval flamethrower, and its victims had no escape once it made contact. Its mystery added to its terror. The exact method of producing and controlling Greek fire died with the empire. Modern scientists have tried to recreate it, but have never achieved its unique, water-resistant flames. Its loss remains one of history's great enigmas, a vanished technology centuries ahead of its time. For the Byzantines, Greek fire wasn't just a weapon, it was divine wrath in liquid form. Even now, it symbolizes the power of lost knowledge. Greek fire stands as a reminder that some ancient technologies remain beyond modern understanding, forever hidden beneath the ashes of history. The English longbow was not just a weapon, it was an equalizer of empires. Crafted from yew wood and standing taller than most soldiers, it could fire arrows over 250 yards with lethal precision. In the 14th century, it became England's most formidable weapon, capable of piercing armor and breaking cavalry charges. It was the weapon that made commoners into kings of the battlefield. At the Battle of Agincourt in 1415, English archers used the longbow to decimate the French army. Tens of thousands of arrows darkened the sky before raining down with deadly force. Heavily armored knights were slaughtered before they could even reach the English lines. It was a moment that changed warfare forever. The secret of the longbow lay not just in its design, but in the men who wielded it. English archers trained from childhood, developing the strength and discipline needed to pull the 100-pound draw weight. Their skeletal remains show deformed spines and enlarged arm bones from years of training, a lifetime of dedication to one deadly skill. By the end of the Middle Ages, the longbow faded with the rise of gunpowder, yet its legacy lives on as one of the deadliest and most efficient weapons ever built by hand. It proved that precision and patience could defeat power and prestige. The Assyrians were the masters of early siege warfare, and their most terrifying invention was the siege tower. Rising stories above the battlefield, these mobile fortresses allowed soldiers to rain arrows and hurl flaming projectiles over city walls. Used as early as the 9th century BC, they combined brutal engineering with unstoppable momentum. The Assyrians used them to crush rebellious cities across Mesopotamia and beyond. Constructed from wood and reinforced with metal plates, siege towers could carry dozens of soldiers at once. They were rolled toward enemy walls on massive wheels while archers fired from the upper platforms. Once close enough, ramps were lowered, allowing troops to storm the defenses directly. To defenders, the sight of a towering rolling monster approaching their city was enough to break morale. But the true brilliance of Assyrian siege towers lay in their coordination with other weapons. Battering rams, sappers, and archers worked in unison to overwhelm even the strongest fortifications. These machines transformed war from chaos into calculation, making the Assyrians the first true siege specialists in history. When the empire fell, so too did its siege technology. Later, civilizations adopted and improved on their designs, but none ever inspired the same fear. The Assyrian siege tower stands as an ancient symbol of industrialized warfare, a glimpse into the first mechanical nightmares of history. The trebuchet was the catapult's terrifying evolution, a medieval marvel capable of hurling stones weighing hundreds of pounds over castle walls. First appearing in the 12th century Europe, it used counterweight mechanics instead of torsion, allowing far greater power and precision. With a single pull of the trigger, entire towers could crumble. To defenders, it wasn't just a machine, it was a symbol of inevitable doom. Unlike earlier siege weapons, the trebuchet relied on pure physics. A massive counterweight dropped, transferring its force into a long arm that launched its payload, rocks, firepots, even diseased corpses, over vast distances. During the Siege of Acre in 1191, Richard the Lionheart and Saladin both used trebuchets in a brutal contest of destruction. Their stones shattered walls and spirits alike. Each trebuchet was an engineering masterpiece, built on site by teams of craftsmen and soldiers. They were often named like living beings. England's Warwolf was said to be the most powerful. The sight of one assembling outside city walls was enough to cause panic and surrender without a fight. As gunpowder rose, the trebuchet faded into legend, but its design still inspires engineers today as a perfect fusion of science and terror, a reminder that medieval warfare was as much about ingenuity as it was about brutality. The Sarissa was no ordinary spear, it was a weapon that reshaped ancient warfare. Measuring up to 18 feet long, it gave the Macedonian phalanx an almost impenetrable front line. Invented under Philip II, Alexander the Great's father, the Sarissa became the backbone of his unstoppable army. With it, Alexander conquered from Greece to India, creating one of the largest empires in history. Wielding the Sarissa required discipline and precision. Soldiers had to move as one, maintaining perfect formation while holding their weapons with both hands. The sight of thousands of gleaming spear points advancing together was enough to terrify opponents. At battles like Gaugamela in 331 BC, this deadly wall of pikes crushed the Persian Empire's might. The brilliance of the Sarissa lay in its simplicity. It extended the soldier's reach far beyond traditional spears, making frontal assaults against the Macedonian phalanx almost suicidal. Combined with Alexander's unmatched strategy, it became an unstoppable force that shaped the tactics of warfare for centuries. Even after Alexander's death, the Sarissa remained a symbol of unity, discipline, and dominance. It wasn't just a weapon, it was a testament to the precision and innovation that defined the Macedonian war machine. Before cavalry ruled the battlefield, the war chariot was the ancient world's ultimate weapon of speed and shock. Used by Egyptians, Persians, and Chinese dynasties alike, it turned warfare into a deadly display of motion and power. The earliest examples date back to 2000 BC, when warriors used lightweight wooden chariots, pulled by horses to dominate the plains. To enemies on foot, it was like facing thunder itself. The chariot was more than a vehicle, it was a status symbol for rulers and elite warriors. Pharaohs like Ramses II used them to lead armies in grand battles like Kadesh, firing arrows while racing across the field. The combination of speed, archery, and intimidation made the chariot a psychological weapon as much as a physical one. Rough terrain and evolving infantry tactics gradually made chariots obsolete. By the time of Alexander and the Romans, they were relics of a bygone era, yet their legend endured through art, myth, and memory. From the thundering plains of Egypt to the deserts of Persia, the war chariot symbolizes the dawn of organized warfare, a time when kings fought not just with armies, but with spectacle and fear. The Romans were masters of precision warfare, and the Manuballista proved it. A portable torsion-powered weapon, it functioned like a giant crossbow capable of launching iron bolts with terrifying force. Used during the 1st century AD, it combined mobility and lethality, allowing Roman legions to breach enemy walls or mow down advancing troops from a distance. Its compact design made it the perfect tool for battlefield dominance. The power behind the Manuballista came from twisted sinew or rope cords that stored immense tension. When released, they unleashed bolts that could pierce armor or shields. Roman engineers used mathematics and craftsmanship to perfect its range and accuracy, an early sign of their scientific approach to war. On the battlefield, it was silent death in motion. At sieges like Jerusalem in 70 AD, these weapons rained iron upon defenders, spreading panic before the Roman infantry advanced. Soldiers could assemble or disassemble them quickly, making them ideal for both field and siege operations. The precision and portability made it a revolutionary piece of military technology. The Manuballista eventually disappeared as larger artillery replaced it, but its influence lives on in modern ballistics and firearm design. It was more than a weapon, it was Rome's mechanical embodiment of power and precision. In the final years of World War II, Nazi engineers developed one of the most bizarre and advanced weapons of the time, the Goliath. a small, remote-controlled demolition tank. It was designed to carry explosives directly into enemy lines and detonate upon impact. Looking like a miniature tank, it could be guided by a joystick through a control cable, years ahead of its time. Yet, despite its innovation, it never fulfilled its deadly potential. The Goliath was only 4 feet long, but it could deliver up to 100 kilograms of explosives. Its purpose was to destroy tanks, bunkers, and bridges without risking human lives. However, it suffered from limited range and poor reliability. The control cables were often severed by gunfire, leaving the machine useless in the heat of battle. German soldiers nicknamed it the Beetle tank, but many saw it as more of a curiosity than a true weapon. Although thousands were produced, their impact was minimal compared to expectations. The Allies often captured and studied them, realizing how close the Nazis had come to pioneering modern drone warfare. The Goliath remains a haunting glimpse of what could have been, a mechanical precursor to today's unmanned combat vehicles. It's a chilling reminder that even failed inventions can change the course of future wars. On October 30th, 1961, the Soviet Union detonated the Tsar Bomba, the most powerful weapon ever created by humankind. The explosion was so massive that windows shattered hundreds of miles away, and the flash could be seen from over 600 miles. With a yield of 50 megatons, it was more than 3,000 times stronger than the bomb dropped on Hiroshima. It was less a weapon and more a warning to the world. The bomb was dropped over Novaya Zemlya, a remote Arctic archipelago, and detonated at high altitude. The resulting mushroom cloud rose 42 miles into the atmosphere, reaching the edge of space. Though the blast was designed to minimize fallout, its shockwaves circled the globe 3 times. The world realized that one nation now possessed the power to erase cities in an instant. Tsar Bomba was never meant for actual combat. It was a political statement during the Cold War's peak. The Soviets wanted to show dominance without launching a war, but even they recognized its horror. Scientists called it too powerful to exist. It marked the moment when technology had outpaced morality. The Tsar Bomba became the ultimate symbol of deterrence, fear, and human recklessness. It was both a marvel of engineering and a monument to our capacity for destruction. In the mid-15th century, the Ottoman Empire unveiled a weapon so massive it redefined siege warfare, the Dardanelles Gun. Cast in bronze by Hungarian engineer Orban, this colossal cannon measured over 17 feet long and fired stone balls weighing more than 600 pounds. It was first unleashed during the siege of Constantinople in 1453, when Sultan Mehmed II set his sights on breaking the legendary walls that had protected the Byzantine Empire for nearly 1,000 years. The moment it roared to life, the medieval world realized that no fortress was truly safe. The Dardanelles gun wasn't just a tool of destruction, it was psychological warfare made tangible. Its deafening explosions echoed across the Bosporus, shaking the earth and the hearts of defenders alike. Each shot took hours to reload, requiring entire teams to handle its enormous ammunition and reset the weapon. But when fired, its impact was catastrophic. Massive stone projectiles smashed through walls that had stood for centuries. Panic spread among the defenders as the ancient city's barriers began to collapse. Moving such a weapon was a feat of determination and engineering. Soldiers and engineers worked tirelessly under the blazing Anatolian sun, proving that the Ottomans' will to conquer was as formidable as their firepower. To witnesses, the arrival of the Dardanelles gun symbolized the unstoppable march of history itself. Long after the fall of Constantinople, the Dardanelles gun continued to guard Ottoman shores. Even into the 19th century, it stood as both a relic and a reminder, a masterpiece of metal and ambition that transformed siege warfare forever. Today, its hulking frame rests in museums, silent yet powerful, a monument to how human ingenuity and ambition often intertwine with destruction. When the American Civil War erupted in the 1860s, the world witnessed a new kind of naval monster, the Ironclad Warship. Unlike traditional wooden vessels, these were wrapped in iron plating, rendering them nearly invulnerable to cannon fire. The first clash between these steel titans, the USS Monitor and the CSS Virginia, in 1862, changed naval warfare forever. The Monitor, built for the Union, was an engineering marvel, a low-profile vessel with a rotating turret that allowed it to fire in any direction. Its opponent, the Virginia, was a converted Union ship transformed by the Confederates into a floating fortress. When they met at Hampton Roads, the battle raged for hours, neither side able to pierce the other's armor. Spectators on the shore realized they were witnessing the birth of a new era, where innovation in iron outweighed tradition in timber. The duel sent shockwaves through naval powers across the globe. Britain, France, and Russia immediately began constructing their own fleets of ironclads. The concept of the ship as an indestructible war machine took hold, fueling ambitions that would later culminate in the dreadnoughts of the 20th century. Naval supremacy was no longer about the wind. It was about technology. Though primitive compared to modern battleships, ironclads revolutionized the art of war at sea. They proved that innovation could overturn centuries of maritime tradition in a single battle. Their legacy survives in every armored vessel that sails today, a testament to the moment when human ingenuity first tamed the oceans with steel and steam. Born in secrecy during the height of the Cold War, the B-2 Spirit stealth bomber remains one of the most mysterious and sophisticated aircraft ever built. Developed by the United States in the 1980s, it was designed to slip past radar undetected and deliver nuclear or precision payloads deep inside enemy territory. Its sleek, bat-like silhouette wasn't just futuristic. It was functional, using radar-absorbing materials and advanced aerodynamics to vanish from detection. To the public, it looked like something out of a science fiction film, and in many ways, it was. The B-2's combat debut in the 1990s showcased its terrifying efficiency. During the Kosovo conflict and later operations in the Middle East, the bomber flew missions from U.S. soil, striking targets halfway across the world without refueling. Each aircraft operated with unmatched precision, capable of eliminating high-value targets before the enemy even knew it was coming. Every inch of the B-2 was engineered with obsessive secrecy. Its radar-absorbent coating, heat signature management, and unique wing design made it virtually invisible to tracking systems. Even today, many of its technologies remain classified, protected as closely as state secrets. With a staggering price tag exceeding $2 billion per unit, it became not just a weapon, but a political symbol, proof that the US could dominate both technology and the skies. The stealth bomber represents the modern pinnacle of invisible warfare, where power lies not in size, but in unseen precision. It's the spiritual descendant of ancient weapons like Greek fire and the Dardanelles gun, creations meant to terrify as much as destroy. The B-2 Spirit reminds the world that the most dangerous weapons are not the ones you see, but the ones you never know are there until it's too late. In the end, these mysterious weapons of war remind us how fear, innovation, and secrecy have always walked hand in hand throughout history. Each invention, whether real or rumored, reveals just how far humanity is willing to go in the pursuit of power and dominance. Some became legends, others vanished into obscurity, but all left behind questions that may never truly be answered. Thank you very much for watching this video, and if you learned something, make sure to leave a like, comment down below your thoughts on which mysterious weapon you found the most fascinating, and subscribe if you would like to see a part 2 or more videos like this one. The world of secret warfare is vast, chilling, and endlessly intriguing, and we've only scratched the surface. Thank you again, and goodbye.